Hello, today I thought we would talk about a fascinating subject, guilt. And you really need to listen because I am an expert in it. Years of experience in the old guilt category. Before I get started and tell you what I have in mind, guilt, I think you know what it is. At least I know you know what it feels like. If you've never experienced it, you are one blessed individual. Guilt isn't directly associated with, being humiliated or embarrassed. It can, but more than anything, guilt is when you realize you had a responsibility to do something and either you didn't do it or you didn't live up to whatever the responsibility called for. It may be something as general as, hey, you're responsible for, I'm responsible for being a good guy, and I did not do that. In this case, I was very not proud of the way I reacted. That gives a sense of guilt. Anyway, we all have it, but we were never intended to carry it with us, and yet for years in my life, I carried mine on my shoulders. It was a heavy weight, and you could look at me and say, hey, Mark, what's that on your shoulders? Oh, it's guilt. Pay no attention to it. I'm getting used to it. It took many years of reading and understanding a little more, thanks to the Spirit that is given those who follow Jesus in understanding guilt and how it was never intended for us to carry it around with us. I'm thinking of an instance in John 8 where Jesus makes this, he made it clear to me. In John 8, it's a great chapter because at the start it's the one where the woman was caught in adultery. Jesus is in the temple. Some men bring the lady in and say, hey, Jesus, this lady was caught in the act of adultery. Moses says we're supposed to stone her. What do you say? And Jesus didn't answer him. He's doodling in the ground, if you'll recall. We don't know what he wrote, but I'd sure like to know. And they kept hounding him. No, what should we do? What should we do? And he finally just looked up and said, let he who is without guilt cast the first stone. You've heard that, you know it. And then he went back to doodling, and the men left, the old men first. And finally, the lady was left there, and this is the part I love the most. Jesus looks at her and says, where are your accusers? There's nobody here to condemn you? And she said, no, they're not. And he said, this is my favorite part, I don't condemn you either. Go, sin no more. That is powerful. I like that because the thought of, I don't condemn you either. That is a blessing for her, and it's the message. I think God used that example to get it across to us, and I believe the same thing. I'm not condemning you for that. I'm sorry it happened, but you need to go and sin no more. And yeah, you're going to sin again, but I'm not condemning you. Just keep confessing to me and use my example to get on with your life without carrying all the guilt around. And I say that because of this. In the latter part of chapter 8, this is where Jesus is talking to other Jews who are believing in him. And he tells them this statement. He said, you need to read the Word because in the Word is truth, and the truth will set you free. And these Jews said, what are you talking about, set us free? We're not condemned. We're not in chains or anything. And then he says this to them. Most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave to sin. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. That verse has been used in devotionals and sermons forever. If Christ makes you free, you're free indeed. What he was saying to me here is, Mark, I freed you from the guilt. What that situation or these situations that you feel guilty about did, I can't change the effects of them. But I'm saying I'm not condemning you for it. Get on with your life. I can't use you carrying that weight around. People look at you and they say, why should I want to be like Mark? The guy is, ought to be ripping his clothes or something. He looks so miserable in life. And Jesus said, do you believe me or not? If the Son makes you free, you're free indeed. Take the guilt off. Go and sin no more. And that helped to really free me from it. And yes, I still mess up and I feel guilt. And then I confess it to God and I remember this. His thought of, okay, I'm not condemning you now. You're learning. Go and sin no more. Quit acting like you're carrying the world on your shoulders because I didn't intend for you to do that. I did it for you. When I hung on that cross, I took the weight of that thing you're feeling guilty for. So there's no use both of us feeling guilty for it. You put it aside. I bore the weight of it. Now go on, sin no more. That helped me so much get past some of the things that weighed on me so heavily, and maybe it'll help you too. I certainly hope so. There's nothing good that comes from prolonged guilt over things. Yes, you can feel bad. You can't change the outcome of what you did, but you don't need to carry the weight feeling condemned and that God loves you less, because He doesn't. Thanks for listening to this. We'll have another encouraging word next time.